Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the AstroCast Live, episode number 11. We have new microphones. I don't know. You're on me, right? So go ahead and switch to our special guest of the evening. I'll just say Nick. I won't say your last name or anything. He lives on... I'm kidding.
Currently, our exact coordinates.
Yeah. So just try not to talk too loud because you'll start clipping.
Because I was laughing.
No, I know. This actually looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this.
Yeah, no, the angle's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm gonna keep holding the microphone. So sorry if you hear boom boom boom, because I'm just we're watching the 2-minute delay stream. It's kind of funny.
Like 30 seconds.
Yeah, whatever. It's some sort of
that's
latency.
That's like the base.
Yeah, make sure you talk into the microphone.
I am.
Okay. Anyway,
I was just looking down.
hopefully there's no hiccups tonight. We've got a brand new setup. We've got brand new microphones. We've got all sorts of wires running around everywhere. And we've also got, in the producer box over there, we've got Matthew, also known as Clone Trooper 2.0. And in third chair, we've got Evan. I don't know if, is the cam...
It's not on.
Oh, it's not on?
Why is that
Did we not set up that camera?
No. I asked about it.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry, I
did,
forgot
you
to set
did.
it up. Here, Nick, you want to stall for me?
Sure.
All right.
So,
Put
today
it to Nick, Matthew.
we did some stuff before the podcast. Joe has been begging me to come on for a... Yeah. Yeah, you have. For what would you say, the past month? I kept saying I was going to, but then I kept getting busy and exactly. I got bruises. But we went and introduced Matthew to the great art of ice skating, so he had a decent amount of fun, I'm pretty sure. But Evan got me back into that, and ever since we've been going pretty often, and now we finally got the whole group to get out here. But yeah, other than that, had a little dinner, got everything ready, and now we're here. So, first podcast on, and probably not the last, because Joe really wants me to be here. But, yeah, I know. I was just making a joke. Can they hear you through, does Matthew have a mic?
Matthew does have a mic.
Oh. Well, I see Evan's, but I can't see Matthew's.
Switch it back to you. Switch it back to you.
Back to me,
No.
or to Matthew.
No, to Matthew. So you didn't see me run across.
It doesn't matter.
Did you see me run across? Too late?
We'll see.
You can turn my mic back on, Matthew. Testing. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So, over in the producer box, we have Matthew and Evan. Matthew being our wonderful producer. Evan is our wonderful guest / fact checker.
It did go across.
Anyway, we were going to have another special guest tonight, so it was going to be really crowded in here. But we had to reschedule that for next week. So you have a debate to look forward to next week or something along those lines. So, yeah. Why do I look so... That must be the internet connection. Yeah, I think it's the internet connection because we all look kind of crappy on our little monitor in there.
Well, it's not too bad.
Okay.
It just looks like we're 2012.
I know. It's just my laptop, though. But anyway, shall we start?
Sure.
Well, before we get started... That's your cue, Matthew. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here. We are live Mondays. No, we're not live Mondays anymore. We're live Fridays at 8 p.m. Oh, it does? Oh, I better change that. We are live Fridays at 8 p.m. every week. I don't know.
Change that.
Then we are... let's see. The audio version of the podcast comes out on everywhere you can find your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find that Mondays at 5 p.m. Is when that comes out. Clips come out Tuesdays through Thursdays at 5 p.m. or 2 p.m. actually. And you can follow me at joe.czol on Instagram. And I think that's about it for the self-promotion. But if you like what you see here, hit the like button. Just give it a little tap. Maybe a smash if you're really getting into it. All right. And hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss another episode of the AstroCast Live. But tonight we are going to be talking about space colonization. And we have an article from the president of SpaceX saying humans will be on Mars within the decade.
Dogecoin to the
So
moon.
if Matthew pulls up that article, we can go ahead and read that. We're going to stall for time a little bit because it'll take like 30 seconds for it to come up on our screen.
Did you not hear me? I said Dogecoin to the moon.
That's another thing. There's we've got some other articles talking about prolonged stays on the moon. I mean, NASA's already planning that with its Artemis program.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah. We've talked about that on the show a few times. Oh, I just realized I'm wearing a beanie with. Well, it's all right. Too late now. I lost my train of thought. It's still not up there. Man. There it goes. Okay. Humanity will go to Mars in this decade, SpaceX president predicts. And astronauts will likely make it to the red planet's surface before the end of the 2020s.
I'm not surprised.
That's pretty cool. I hope
mean,
SpaceX lives up to that.
No, I definitely agree with that because we've been getting so much from them about it because they've been talking about it so much, especially recently.
Oh yeah. I think it'd be. I mean, the Earth is great, but it's got physical limitations, of size.
Yeah, but every planet does.
There's 7 billion of us here, going on 8 billion.
Just a few,
Just a few.
Well, they think it's gonna balance out at around 11, right?
What's that?
They think it's gonna balance out at around 11 billion.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Which is,
but even still,
a tad
if we
much.
want to, if we want to expand like humanity into anything else, we
Yeah.
gotta expand our horizons. Dude, imagine terraforming Mars.
I think that's not for me personally, but I would definitely like to see
You
it
couldn't
happen.
take like one. It wouldn't take one person. Imagine
No.
just one person just plugging away, digging the
Oh, that'd be
trench,
epic.
terraforming
Gotta
Mars.
shoveling some plows out there.
I've seen
farming
some.
in
I've seen some
space.
papers saying we could fling an asteroid at Mars,
Oh, you don't say.
and so it would add mass and the greenhouse effect because there's more mass, the carbon and whatever, it would make it warmer or whatever. I'm not a physicist, but
At what point does it become an asteroid if we're flinging it from Earth?
we're not flinging it from Earth. We could
Oh,
just
we're
fling it
just-
from anywhere.
I mean, yeah, but giant trebuchet. Come on now.
Hey, there you go. See, we have to get a really big asteroid, build a giant
No, just
trebuchet on it,
Just get a giant. Well,
build a giant trebuchet on it, and then
Space
slingshot,
trebuchet?
slingshot another asteroid from that bigger asteroid to Mars.
It's like that one movie, The Martian.
No.
I know, like how in the end part where they do a bunch of a whole slingshots.
Well, that was more like a gravity slingshot.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you get the point.
Yeah, no, it's similar. I mean,
Yeah,
if we were to do
gravity
something like that
slingshot
in real
and
life, it
the
would have
lack
to be
of
a
it.
gravity slingshot
Yeah.
because I mean, the reason I was saying that and the reason why I think it's funny
Mhm.
is because Newton's third law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
If you have a trebuchet on an asteroid and then it's flinging another asteroid, the center of mass in that system stays at the same spot,
Right.
which means both asteroids separate.
Correct.
And so while one would fling towards Mars, one would fling in the exact opposite direction.
Correct. Send it
Which
to
I
the
think is a
sun.
little funny.
Well,
Anyway,
I mean, I wouldn't say
what
that's funny.
What do you think? What do you think the goal should be for colonizing Mars?
Well, if we're talking about within this decade, definitely just getting the basics down to the point where it's not just useless in a sense.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry. Yeah,
that little bow tie right there will tighten it.
bow tie. You say
Yeah, that one.
bow tying.
Yeah, because you just want wherever the blue dot is, that's
No,
where
yeah,
you want
yeah.
to talk into.
But I definitely think we should have the grounds built. But at the least case, just get there.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely going to be, like you said, we have to terraform it and we have to get
Well,
it all.
terraforming, I don't even know if that's something
Terraforming.
physically we could do.
No, I think we definitely could.
Well, it's a huge, monumental task.
Correct.
Nothing that we've ever
Well,
achieved before is even
That's why I'm
remotely similar.
saying, don't worry about that within the.
No. I'm saying I was just thinking that was cool.
No,
Um,
definitely.
No, it'd be interesting to see how they build habitation modules on Mars, and to see how they make resources from the
Yeah.
stuff that's on Mars. There's a lot of iron,
Ice.
but there's not a whole. I mean, there is some ice, but a lot of it's actually dry ice,
Correct.
like solid carbon,
Correct.
and so that's or carbon dioxide. I apologize. And those are mostly at the poles, so I'm not sure how
Mhm.
much water there is on Mars. I know there's actually a lot of water on the moon.
Correct.
And there's another article that we have, and Matthew can pull it up. I think it's on the screen he has, about we can get water from the moon, and we can use it through electrolysis. We can split it into oxygen and hydrogen.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Oxygen and fuel.
Yep.
What about
Yeah,
a
so we can use
fuel cell?
hydrogen. Well, not a, so it's the opposite of
know.
a hydrogen fuel cell.
You know
Hold
what
on.
I'm referencing.
I do know what you're referencing. You're referencing now
Your
I get it.
whole Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Yeah, remember your Minecraft
Oh,
hydrogen
I
fuel
thought
cell?
you were talking about Project Guardian
No.
because we were doing the same thing.
Well,
Remember, we
yeah, but-
took a bunch of stuff and put it
Yeah,
out in the
yeah.
yard. Yeah, anyway,
I was there, Joe.
rip Project Guardian.
On God.
What?
I said on God.
Oh. Yeah, moon exploring astronauts could get oxygen and fuel from lunar rocks. And so there's ice on the moon.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And yeah, through electrolysis, you can
Whole lot of
split it
rocks,
into
too.
oxygen and hydrogen. You can use hydrogen for fuel.
Mhm.
Like you can use it to heat up the habitation module. You could
Right.
use it to power a little
But
monopropellant
isn't
engine.
it like in its purest form, like fairly explosive?
So hydrogen by itself is not.
Mm.
Hydrogen combined with oxygen
Ah.
is highly flammable.
Right.
And sorry, not flammable, combustible. Because it's a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
It's the chemical reaction that splits it into oxygen and hydrogen is the same chemical reaction, just in reverse, that makes
Right.
it an oxygen or that makes it into water.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very violent chemical reaction,
Correct.
and you can make some serious thrust out of that.
Yeah.
And that's
There's a
actually
reason
what we were
built
doing.
bombs out of hydrogen for a while.
We had a channel called Project Guardian, and we were building a rocket engine out of hydrogen and oxygen. Ultimately, the conclusion we came to is we don't have the resources to pressurize enough oxygen and hydrogen from the electrolyzer to actually produce significant pressure in order to produce significant thrust from the de Laval converging diverging nozzle. Now, how NASA would get around that, I don't know. They probably have a lot more
yeah,
resources.
I was going to
and
say they have the
technology.
money and resources for it. So
The
I
problem,
don't think
though,
it'd be that
is
hard.
you have to have a huge electrolyzer, and you couldn't do it locally on whatever you were powering. You had
No,
to
you
already make the fuel and then
Right.
put it on.
Right.
And then on top of that, they would either have to make it into liquid form and do a bipropellant converging diverging design, or
Mhm.
if they were going to do monopropellant, it would. I mean, in my mind, the only way to do that would be to do it with the air mixture.
Yeah.
And that's not. It's less efficient than the fuel mixture, or than
Right,
the liquid
right.
mixture.
Well, that's how everything is because with liquid you can get as much as you can out of it, but
Well, you can store a lot more of it,
Yeah.
and then the big thing is the temperature difference.
Mhm.
When you have that big temperature difference, you can run the really cold oxygen and fuel around the nozzle,
right.
and that'll cool down the exhaust, and then the combustion is really hot between oxygen and hydrogen specifically, and so that temperature difference creates a huge pressure, and that just flings things even faster.
Mhm.
So, along with the clever geometry of the de Laval nozzle, it's the temperature difference is a lot of what powers that the exit velocity of the
Right.
exhaust. So that was literally what we were doing in Project Guardian, but
Yeah.
we don't have the resources to make that
Yeah, because didn't we
a
go with
feasi- a
a
feasible,
different nozzle for it?
Well, no, we did the de Laval. It was a paraboloid nozzle.
Mm-hmm.
Converging, diverging, and it was technically a monopropellant, but technically it is a bipropellant
Right.
because it's using oxygen and hydrogen, but they're already premixed together because we
Right.
just got them right out of the electrolyzer.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really cool project. I
Yeah.
learned a lot, but
Yeah, that plastic
it
tubes
was a lot
don't
of
work
fun.
that
It just
well.
didn't work. It was not going to work. It was not going to produce enough thrust for what we needed, and we couldn't feasibly produce enough pressure without
Yeah, the
spending a
only
lot
thing
of
we-
money.
The only thing we could get out of it was a slight explosion. No.
Oh, we could get some power out of that little tiny rocket,
Yeah.
but the problem is it was not prolonged,
Right.
and if it was prolonged, it was not a lot of thrust.
But wasn't that the
What
whole
we call
point?
that is a Dirac delta function.
Oh. Oh.
High energy, high impulse, very low time interval.
Right.
So that's
Like short
that's
bursts.
the issue. Yeah, energy in a low time
But
interval.
wasn't that the whole point of it?
The
or did
whole
you want,
no,
like,
it was
it-
supposed to be prolonged because it was supposed to be at an idle,
Right.
and then like on at an idle, and then large burst at a time, and then go back to an idle. But it always had to be on at the idle.
Right.
The problem is we could get it to idle, but we couldn't get it to go any further than that, and we could only get it to idle for maybe a minute tops.
Yeah.
Because we just and the amount of fuel that you'd have to store and the amount that you would have to compress it, you
Yeah,
would
we'd
have
have
to
to-
figure out a way to store them separately first of all, because if you store them together and compress it, that just increases the chance that you're going to have a chain reaction explosion.
Correct.
So anyway, that's
'Cause-
enough about electrolysis
Yeah.
and oxygen and hydrogen. Let's talk about
Your
space
favorite
colonization.
processes. I mean, hey, rockets.
Anything you guys would like to add over there?
Cool explosions.
Cool explosions? Did you turn on your microphone before you talked?
Of course.
I got one.
You got one?
Kaboom.
Kaboom. All right.
Well, we
So,
got a pretty
yeah.
decent kaboom.
We got several decent kabooms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you guys are interested in that, we're not doing any more on the project. We retired it, but the channel's called Project Guardian. I used to have it in the recommended channels. Maybe I'll put it back, but I took it out because we retired the project. It was a fun project. The whole idea was to make the Titanfall suit from Titanfall 2, and that would have been really cool.
Yeah, because
But-
RIP Titanfall 3.
I know. Stupid Apex
No.
Legends.
Because
That
of
was a rumor.
the Apex Legends,
Yeah.
like whole server hack, they came out and were like, nope. I don't even know if they're gonna make Destiny 3. No, they shouldn't.
Ooh, and even then, that's a push.
Yeah, because they keep putting out DLCs for it.
Mhm. What I'm saying is this whole space colonization is kind of reminding me of Destiny,
Really?
except without the mass shootings of, aliens all over the place.
Oh, so that begs an interesting question, and we talked about this a little bit before on the podcast. What do you think happens when or if humans meet aliens?
Depends.
It probably depends where we meet them.
Correct.
If you meet
If
them
we
at
meet
the
them on
If-
their
if
turf or
on
our
their
turf.
our turf,
Because
or
if-
neutral ground.
I feel like neutral ground would be the best because if
Well,
they were
yeah.
on either ours or theirs, it'd be a defensive situation because we don't know
yeah,
who you are.
exactly.
But at the same time, it's very likely.
Yeah.
that'll
somewhere
eventually
that's
happen.
neutral, it's more of not really, just you're
There's
not
no
defensive, so
stakes.
you're
Yeah.
more or less like, okay, I'm not in yours, you're not in mine. Let's just kind of take this, figure out where it goes, and not really
Right.
interfere with each other. But if it comes to it, it's like,
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
get
it
what you're
also
saying.
depends on how intelligent they are.
That's true.
Because if they're highly intelligent and they don't want us around,
Well, so I was talking to Matthew about this. I think whatever alien life we're going to run into
mhm.
is going to be significantly less intelligent than us. And I think there's actually good evidence to prove that.
I disagreed with John.
I know Matthew
I
disagrees
disagree
with
in
me.
the sense of we haven't explored enough.
That's true. Do you think there's significant extraterrestrial life in our
No.
solar system?
No. Because for that to happen, either they would have to be super altered life forms
Yeah.
to be able to counteract the climates and such, because we don't have any other inhabitable technically other than Mars
Uh,
we're talking about.
well,
we
not
don't really
Mars.
have inhabitable
Venus,
planets.
maybe.
That
Titan is a maybe. The moon of Jupiter
Yeah, I
or
know
Saturn.
that.
I'm sorry. Europa, maybe. The
Europa's
problem
a
is
moon
the
of
problem
Ju-
is the temperature on all those planets.
right.
They're really
especially
good
with Venus
suitors. Yeah.
because it's there.
acid rain and acid
That and
buildup
the-
of the whole surface of that planet.
What am I thinking of? Like the cloud cover.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
in
it's
the
the hottest
gas.
planet. It's the
atmosphere.
hottest planet in
Yeah.
the solar system.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
next to Mercury.
So in
No,
that
no,
case,
it is the hottest planet in the solar system because the cloud cover keeps.
Correct.
It's like an
Yeah.
oven.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that case, it'd have to be like Nick said, it had to be one of those things where they'd probably more so advanced that they can withstand those.
Or just evolution.
Yeah, that too.
Because that's how we adapted.
Because again,
Yeah.
there's not much that's gone over that specifically. So I think it's one of those things that if you literally look into it enough, you're gonna go in a complete circle because literally the ones that have the money and power to do it don't do it. So it's more of you just have to wait and see.
that, and you also have to think about we probably have been potentially scoped out, and it could also be the sense of
that's
they don't want
possible.
anything to do with us.
That is possible. I personally I think that's a little bit unlikely.
Yeah.
Just because of the amount of space between the next Earth-like planet and the next one is in Proxima Centauri, I do believe. And I believe I want to say that's like 2.3 light years away, Matthew.
Something
In the
like that.
Goldilocks zone?
No. The at Proxima Centauri. Here, fact checker Evan, look up how far away Proxima Centauri is. Oh, is Matthew gonna do it?
Yeah.
Okay. The keyboard works. Yeah. So anyway, 4.2. Okay, I had half of it. I was half right.
I mean,
Why is that significant?
Proxima
it's
Centauri
far.
is the closest planet, or is the closest system to us that possibly could hold or harbor life.
right. And that's why I think there's not that many, because you have to have places that are suitable for it, and
Yep.
it's like,
But that's assuming it's Earth-like.
yeah,
know,
that's why
that's
I said
assuming-
like depending on the life form's evolution, and like our thoughts of like extraterrestrials in that sense are like Earth, because we don't really have anything else
What
to
if
base it
there's
off of.
what if there's living planets
That would be
That-
cool.
or
Yeah.
like living? What if there's like living things that just live in space?
It's more or less like what
I wouldn't be surprised.
brought up the question a couple years ago, which was when they first found like significant water on what was it, the moon?
They found
Or-
it on the moon, Europa. Titan, I think, is all
Was that
methane.
Under the
Yes.
Yeah,
surface?
under the surface.
Yes.
So where it brought up the question: is there sustainable life forms that we just don't see?
Yeah.
Because there are microorganisms
Yeah,
on Mars, no?
that's
I think they found evidence of dead microorganisms,
Yeah.
like ancient ones.
Yeah.
I think they found
Well,
evidence
I
of
think
that.
there's like single cell stuff.
I don't know if
but I'm
there's
not entirely
currently
sure.
living there. I know I
Matthew?
know one of the I know one of the
what planet?
I know one of the experiments that NASA's planning on doing is
What was the
planning to
question?
test for that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I know that they're testing or they're planning one to test on that for the future. But let's talk about the Artemis program with NASA.
Elaborate.
We're going
Joe.
back to the actually it's on the launch pad right now.
Oh,
They haven't launched it yet,
that's cool.
but this is the first trip back to the moon
Mhm.
since the last time we were at the moon.
60s, Yeah.
Not the 60s.
I thought it was
No,
the-
I want to say it was like the 80s.
Oh, you're right.
The last mission.
Yeah,
It was
because didn't they
Apollo. Was it
disconnect or-
Apollo 13 or 14?
14.
No. It was Apollo like 16, wasn't it?
72, Apollo 17.
17. 17.
Because
Yep.
The single cell organisms on
Uh-huh.
Mars. It says that there's a possible chance, but that existed at one point.
yeah,
So it's more of a
we got to figure it out.
might have. So it's
Okay.
Because it could also be this like case of if you're on like different planets, stuff can go extinct.
Oh yeah.
Just like
I mean,
how
it's just
we
like
have
how stuff on
several-
Earth
yeah.
went extinct. Yeah.
Like for example, like the Megaloceros, like that was, I think, 1800s whenever it was hunted to extinction.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of like recent extinction, like not level events, but
the
like
carrier pigeon
like
or passenger pigeon. Sorry.
yes. Although you know what's really cool?
What's really cool?
In like contrast to that, they're finding a lot of different like new species in the ocean.
Oh really?
Lots of them.
Well, that's probably the final frontier on Earth is the
Correct.
ocean. That
Well, it's
the final
because
place
it's-
we haven't explored.
It's so deep and pressurized.
Yeah.
That's why.
not many things that can get into that surface where it's unknown.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Matthew, unmute his mic.
Nick, isn't it like every time we go like down into the deep ocean, we find like 100 new species?
Something like that. I'm not entirely sure the
Wow.
number, but I keep seeing like new tropical fish and new deeper sea
Imagine if
fish.
there's dinosaurs living down
That'd
there.
be sick.
So I think that what brings up, it's kind of off topic, but still on. So I think that's when fish from super down below float up to the surface. Everyone kind of loses their mind because they're like, "What
Yeah.
in
Oh yeah, yeah.
the
yeah.
Right.
actual is this?" So kind of like when
The Kraken.
Well,
or
that's how they were with blobfish.
yeah, or the
Oh yeah.
what was it during spring break, the man of war jellyfish or whatever. They started floating out of nowhere, and it's
Oh,
like
wow.
people just started losing their minds off it. 'cause
Yeah,
it was getting
It was in the
it
Galapagos,
in
no?
Florida, I think.
Off
Oh,
the
oh,
keys.
Yeah,
that
because
way?
during
Man.
Wow.
because during spring break there were spring breakers in actual Florida and Miami that would go, and there was multiple cases of people getting stung by that man of war.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
because
I
they
kept
popped out of
seeing-
nowhere.
I kept seeing like people going through like like by there, and they were just scooping them up like by the
Oh,
hundreds.
wow.
It was, and then of course I saw somebody pick one up with his hand, and I was like, "Wow, you're real smart." Because aren't they like the most, I don't know, venomous?
I don't know.
I think next to the box jelly.
Per
You're the one
their-
to be talking about that, right,
yeah, per
sir.
their
Mr. Marine Biologist?
Yes,
if I'm
sir.
not mistaken, I think it's per their body mass or something.
Correct.
They're the most
It's
venomous
because
ones.
Wow.
their tentacles are so long.
Yeah, they're
Well,
like 100-foot tentacles or something
yeah.
along those lines.
They're massive.
Holy cow.
But I don't think they're the most venomous for square inch, because I think that's the blue ring octopus.
Yeah.
Australia.
Well, I'm talking about for the breeds of.
Everything's
Yeah.
deadly.
Of jellies.
Everything will kill you in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
that's why you don't go down under. So.
Well, that's also debatable because it's also getting a lot
Yeah.
nicer.
Hello to our like two viewers from Australia
I
on
still want to go to
Spotify.
Australia. Don't take that personal, please.
Hey man, y'all got a big fence.
How
for
is it
emus.
living upside down? See, they're
For
sealing.
real.
They're
No,
sealing gang
listen,
down there.
Listen, I've come up with the joke thought that they just wear magnet shoes.
How else? Otherwise they would fall off of
Exactly,
the
they
Earth.
just fall off.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Elon's so smart, because he's from South Africa and it's below the equator.
Maybe.
What'd you say?
All the blood goes to his head.
Oh no, I meant because like he developed magnet shoes so that they could stay on the bottom of the Earth. I was like memeing. I wasn't being serious.
According to this, there's 5 reported cases of the God of War jellyfish throughout spring break.
Oof,
Wow.
Spring break
Miami.
alone?
And they
Man.
Where are they normally found?
that's-
South America.
Oh,
I
like
think
further
yeah, that's a
down
little bit
towards
further
the-
away from
like the
Florida.
Galapagos.
That's on the other side of
no, I think
It's on the
they're
left side.
located more towards like
the Galapagos
Portugal,
is
if
in
I'm
the
not
Pacific, isn't
mistaken.
it?
Portugal? No,
because
they're in South America.
Well, I know the Galapagos are in South America, but aren't they in the Pacific?
Yeah, but it's like the Pacific and then close to the middle. It's like. close
So
to
you're
the
telling me they
equator.
went through the Panama Canal? Because
No.
that's the only way.
No, it's the Galapagos Islands aren't on this side. They're on this side of South America.
So they're in the Gulf.
No.
Here, look up where the.
If anything, it'd be the Gulf of Mexico.
That's what I just
Or
said.
not Mexico.
The Gulf of
California.
Yeah, that's the Pacific. Florida's in the Atlantic.
Well, it's more than just that. Joe.
Okay, look it up. Because there's no way jellyfish can get from the Pacific to the Atlantic
No way, Joe.
Not entirely true.
unless they go all the way around the Horn of South America.
I would not be surprised. They're jellyfish, Joe.
so it says that they live blah 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 blah, warmer temperatures along the Indian Ocean, Pacific, and Atlantic and Caribbean.
Oh, so they're all
so
over
they're
the
all over
place.
the damn place.
Okay, so not just the Galapagos.
So they're basically like, get up there, kid. Like,
Yeah.
figure it out.
Gotcha. Okay.
This
Well, that
is the
makes
one
more
that
sense.
I saw held.
Holy cow!
Yep.
There's one that's dead, and this dude picked it up with his hand, and it's still an
look.
idiotic idea, but you know.
Hey Nick, what would happen to you if you
Holy cow.
touched one of those?
Well, let's just say you,
You would
better
not
make
have a
it
good time.
and get some anti-venom. Or
So I heard that their sting is very much like the blue ring octopus
yeah,
because
Oh,
it
and-
takes
okay.
a while for it to kick in,
6 weeks.
and once it kicks
It's-
in,
Six
That's how
weeks?
long it can affect you. Yeah.
yeah,
Whoa.
and once it kicks in, it lingers for a good minute until it goes off.
It says there is a local pain, burning, swelling, and redness. This rash can come and go for 6 weeks, along
Holy
with
cow.
cramps, fever, sweating, weakness, faintness, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea.
That doesn't sound like a good
or
time right there.
Stronger reactions.
Or stronger reactions.
Yes, sir.
I
In
like
other words,
that.
people don't mess with them.
Just don't mess with jellyfish.
If you see them,
There
or,
are.
you know what?
However, do you know what? Have you ever heard of jellyfish lakes?
Jellyfish lakes?
Yes, sir.
I have right now.
They are big lakes in, I want to say, Indonesia, where
Okay.
they're cut off because of the lowering of like
Tide?
yeah, no, not the tide, like water level. So they're just encased lakes that they're full of jellyfish that can't sting, so you can swim with them. And there's
Whoa.
like millions.
They're like moon jellies or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Hmm.
But you can go there, but you have to climb mountains because they're like
Oh, wow.
in oddly like mountainous. You just go to
What?
the bathroom.
Oh, go for it. You won't go on the camera. Oh,
So
well, here, switch it to Nick.
yeah, me and Matthew will talk for a bit. Okay, so basically,
We switched to mic here. What just happened?
he's me and him both will hit that. But so for jellyfish, it's usually if it's not like super venomous, it'll just be like local pain until you get like stuff on it.
Uh-huh.
But for certain jellyfish, you actually have to get like a form of anti-venom, kind of
Mhm.
like snake bites and other venomous stuff, because they're not poisonous. Because poisonous means if you have to eat them. Venomous means they can sting you.
They sting you.
So because of that, they have like certain things where you have to be to like a hospital to get anti-venom within a certain amount of time. Otherwise, you're just screwed.
How
That
many
and-
hours?
I don't even think it's hours for certain things. Like the blue ring octopus, I think it's like 30 minutes,
You only have 30 minutes to get
something
anti-venom?
like that. Yeah.
What?
Hold on, I'll look it up. But it's crazy. People like to pick them up with their hands too.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't... do most hospitals have the anti-venom available?
Not really.
So if they don't have it, you're lucked
Put
out.
it this way: an 8 to 10 inch octopus can kill you.
Oh. Have you seen those huge ones underwater? They're like,
1 milligram of its venom can kill a human.
oh my god. I got you.
All right.
Have you seen those
Yep.
deep?
You have to receive a oxygen ventilator
Whoa.
within 30 minutes.
30
Otherwise,
minutes.
you will die. Yes. And people like to pick them up with their hands.
So you're
That's
just
not
dead.
good.
Have you seen those like 5 feet wide jellyfish in the deep underwater?
Yes.
Those are so cool.
The Kraken.
You know what's really cool that they don't
What's
really
really
talk
cool
about?
that they don't really talk about?
The Dumbo octopus. It's
The
my
Dumbo
favorite.
octopus.
It is my
I need to look that up
favorite.
now.
Like well, it would be a subspecies because it's
Okay.
its own thing. They sit on the sea floor and
Oh, they look so cute.
yes, you should show it on the screen, Matthew.
All right, I'll put this
Um,
up.
So they have little ears, so that look like kind of like Dumbo.
Really?
And then they're like just little like circles, and they spin, and they have short tentacles, and
They
They
look so
spin.
cool.
they're very cute.
We'll leave it up for a little bit so we can see it on the screen.
Oh, for sure.
But
Welcome back, Evan.
I
They're
could
not
talk
venomous
about
How's your
that
bathroom
all day.
break? Refreshing.
You
Except
pissing?
having to squat down lower.
See,
Oh, I've seen those before. Okay. That's kind of
my
funny.
Favorite.
They just spin in circles.
Not really. It's just how they're caught like on camera. Like they usually just kind of sit and.
Oh.
But they can. Still,
What do they
full
eat?
Swim. Just like smaller organisms.
Stuff.
Stuff.
They're not
Zytoplankton.
vegetarians. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
No, they're not that small. They're like this.
Oh.
So they're not
Do
tiny.
they might still eat like phytoplankton though?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Zooplankton maybe?
Yeah.
Or
no, like I wouldn't doubt it. Like they probably
phytoplankton
do.
maybe?
Come here, Sammy.
Oh, here's our special guest.
Let's go.
Here.
Come here.
This is my dog.
Yeah, before we came, he sent me a picture.
No,
of-
I was on Instagram.
Yeah, I
I
was
put it on
talking
Instagram.
about that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was.
Here, pick her up.
I can't reach her.
Oh,
You need
Sammy.
To call her. Come
Here,
here.
we're gonna bring our special guest on the podcast.
But he posted a picture on the Instagram talking about how there was a podcast today, and it had a picture of Sammy, and I was like, "Let's go, the special guest." But yeah. Hi, Sammy.
Ooh, you stink.
Poor Sammy. You insult her? And it's
Damn, you invite her over just to insult, huh?
This is my dog Sammy. She is 15 years old.
AKA breakfast.
She's 15 years old. Her nickname is Breakfast.
How pounds do you think she is?
I think she's around 10 pounds, yeah.
I have a
She's
husky that
15
takes
years
my
old,
first.
and she still, like, races and does laps around the house.
Yeah.
And whenever we come over, she always makes sure to greet us.
Yeah, she still has the energy of, like, a puppy. And she's 15. Nick's gonna get hair all over me.
do it on purpose.
Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
Alright.
Bye, Sammy.
Well, we've got Sammy hanging out,
Bye, Sammy.
and she's gonna go off and dig a hole or take a poop or something.
Well, she just came
Do
out
some
for
dog
doing that.
stuff. Do some dog stuff.
Let's go.
It's a
Let's
technical
go.
term.
Now I get to watch myself pet Sammy.
For those of you who are listening later on audio, you'll just have to check us out on youtube.com and
don't-
subscribe to our channel so you can
what's-
see more.
Come on,
Videos
Joe.
of our
What's
dog.
the exact link? Come on.
I don't know. It's like
I
got a
know, I'm
V
messing
and
with
an
you.
F in it, and it's like a bunch of letters and numbers that I don't know.
Whatever.
Well, that's how
Yeah,
they
something.
differentiate because there's so many videos.
They're
Yeah, because every video has its own like letters that correlate.
gonna
And
run
Yeah.
out one day.
What?
Are they gonna run out one day?
No, just add another letter.
no, I doubt it. They'll probably just add another digit.
Yeah.
If Pie's still running, I doubt they'll ever run out.
Yeah, I don't
saw
know.
it now. She does kind of stink.
Oh yeah, yeah. She needs a bath.
Oh, I don't blame you. I need to bathe both of Colt and Abigail.
I thought you were gonna say, I don't blame you. I need to bathe.
No, I will let you
I mean,
know
you
and
wouldn't
have
be
you know. I
wrong.
took a shower yesterday.
Yesterday
I'm
was
just
yesterday.
messing with you.
Today's a new day.
Yeah, but I've been home.
But anyway, let's talk about space colonization.
Anyways,
It's back on.
went on a
topic.
little bit of a
we went
tangent
from
there.
animals to certain
Well, that's what
games.
podcasts are.
Yeah, we go on tangents all the time. It's fun. It's fun. I like having this arm. I
What
really
kind of-
like these.
What kind of structure do you think that they're gonna use for like actually being on Mars whenever
For
it's
the
fully
hab?
developed? Yeah.
So
Like, do you think they're gonna be like the hexagonal domes?
I bet you it's something similar.
I think so too. I definitely it's gonna have like
makes the most sense.
triangular structures because they're stronger.
Hexagons and triangles are the best shapes.
Well, usually what they do is they make triangles they make hexagons out of the
Out of
triangles,
triangles, yeah.
because the triangle's the strongest shape.
An equilateral triangle.
Correct.
6 of them together makes a hexagon.
Mm-hmm. I did know that.
You didn't know that?
I did.
Oh, you did know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The more you know.
What is it, like 8 makes a square?
What?
Equilaterals.
You can't put 8 equilateral triangles together.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of right triangles.
Yeah, that's only 2.
No, because you do 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, it's only 2. It's like cutting a sandwich in half. You just booped me on the head.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any chats? I haven't been watching it.
I don't think so.
Dang, where is everyone?
I don't know. Issues off doing something else. Oh, you get him on.
Is she poo?
You better get people on so we can have some chats, because we got to take some chats at the end. Speaking of chats, what time is it?
8:36.
Oh, we haven't even been doing this for that long. We got plenty of time for chats.
Mhm.
All right. Well, if you are watching right now, go ahead and share this podcast with whoever you
Share,
like, whoever you
share.
think. Sharing is caring. By the way, what are you? Oh.
Matthew.
I don't know if they can see it. We have a mirror right behind me, and our producer can see Nick from the there's like a mirror. Here, maybe if I move, they can see. No, it's like
Oh, this
right
is
behind
much
my
better.
chair. I don't think they can see it.
You won't be able to see my face, but it's more comfortable.
You should have just hiding behind the microphone.
Well, I moved it downwards. It's just it wasn't comfortable for my arm because I kept.
No,
doing
I know
that.
it. I gotta find a better
You
way
just
to
gotta
fix
put them
them.
like right here, because then it can go like this.
Yeah, you could move it right now. I mean, no, don't move it right now because it'll mess the. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
just
didn't know if it was a clamp or.
it's a clamp. Yeah,
Well, like, or.
yeah it's a, and a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technical terms. It's a chumanuma.
That would be
Well, what's
a
that?
good idea.
You might be able to clip it to the door of the.
Have them come down from the ceiling. Upside down audio.
There you go.
Australian episode.
There you go. Now you're talking. I mean, maybe I could actually hang them from the ceiling.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. That'd be cool.
The problem with that though, is I don't know what I would hang them with, or
You'd have
That'd
to
be a
move
pain.
the
I thought it was a
entire
joke,
setup.
but
It'd be a
it
pain.
You have to
And-
put that here so that it doesn't get hit by the garage door.
it'd just be a pain because I'd have to take them down. So we do the podcast. You could probably tell we're in my garage right now.
Here in my garage.
And my garage is used for garage things. It's used as like a workshop pretty much when the podcast isn't going on. So I have to take all of this setup and put it down into the table that's right in front of us. It's a workbench that I built. So I have to put everything back in there and then bring my computer back in to the house.
Do you have any high chairs?
I don't have any high chairs. I have stools, but what? They're not comfortable. The stools aren't
Put
comfortable.
cushions on them.
No, they're
The
like
point
they
of
don't
the
have a
matter
back.
is we could just sit there and have the mics.
No, this
attached
is
to that.
fine.
Yeah.
No, so that was my original idea, is to have the mics attached to the table right in front of us.
Just.
I didn't make I didn't make that deep enough.
Mm.
So it's about a third of it's hanging off, and so when you extend it all the way, it just falls off.
I get you.
That was my original idea. That was my plan, is to put them there.
You could just like drill into the side.
Yeah. You know what I might do is I might just like weld it to the frame maybe.
No, I wouldn't weld it.
No?
That would be a pain.
Yeah.
Not because they're welded. It literally because they're welded. It would just be a pain.
Well, I could bolt something onto the
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like
just to
You
the frame
just
right there. It's a
have
steel frame.
something- Yeah, like
So.
hook one of these.
I just chopped half of a Craftsman workbench off and put a wood
Oh, I
countertop
can
on it.
tell that.
So
It does look nice though.
I like the little tabletop I made.
Mhm.
Spent a
I just
long time
think-
finishing that.
I think that would be cool to like sit in front of that because.
Well, it'd be nice. I'm basically turning this into like my podcast, like mobile
Mhm.
podcast. I'm eventually gonna put casters on it,
Mm.
and then it'll really be mobile.
Kind of like it not.
What?
I kind of like it not.
Yeah, the reason for casters is so that we can move this out of the way real easy when we want to bring the Bronco in. We have an '87
Ah.
Bronco,
Yeah.
and that we sometimes work on.
You know what you should do, Joe?
What's that?
Just weld something across, and then have it.
Oh,
to
and
the
then just have it.
thickness.
Yeah. That might be the thing to
Because
do.
then it could go straight across, and then it'll sit like this.
Yeah.
Because then you just gotta
That might be the thing to do right
Mhm.
there.
instead of having to worry.
But
about
anyway.
coming over and
More about space colonization. Hey,
man.
it's all right. That's what podcasts are for.
We talked a little about it. We talked about.
No, we did talk a little bit. So, what do you think about NASA going back to the moon in 2022?
I feel like at the same time it could be done by robots.
Yeah. Well, so the first mission they're doing is all autonomous,
Right.
and what they're doing is they're sending it up there, they're sending it to orbit the moon, and they're
Mhm.
coming back. And that's all they're doing. They're
Now, are
just
they-
making sure that
Are
they can do it
planning
safely.
to like make something to land?
So
kinda like
the first
SpaceX?
thing, they're putting up there something called the Lunar Gateway,
Oh.
and it's this permanent space station that's going to orbit the moon indefinitely.
Okay.
So that's going to act as kind of a launch pad for astronauts to sync up with that, and then there's already a lander on it, so that they can land on the moon and then go back to the space station, and they can kind of go back and forth real easily without having to send a new mission.
You know, it'd be cool.
That's really cool.
No.
The other
I said,
thing-
you know, it would be cool
Oh,
if like they actually tethered it to the moon.
well,
Because who knows?
that's hard to do because then you
Oh,
have to
yeah.
work with tension, and you have to have some sort of constant force
Yeah.
Interacting with that tension
Yeah.
or negating it so that you don't just get pulled into the moon. Even if you if you think about it, you're in orbit, right? If you
No, I'm talking like a structure that tethers you, and then you like go down with the structure.
like a space
like-
elevator.
Yes.
So
Precisely.
the problem with the space elevator is tension,
Yeah.
and you can spin the top as fast as you want.
But the middle, no.
The problem, like around the moon, like the orbit, you can get your orbit fine. We've got that down to a science. The
Mhm.
problem is the tension between whatever object is in orbit. There's a tether between there that has some tension.
Correct.
Tension is always pulling towards the middle or the center point of,
Right.
of your circle that you're orbiting, or your ellipsoid,
Right.
or elliptical.
Close enough.
So if it's always pulling to the center, it's eventually just going to crash into the moon and destroy itself. You either have to have a strong enough superstructure to negate that tension force, which means some sort of superstructure that's either like a skyscraper on the moon,
That'd be cool.
or you have to have like some sort of rocket booster or some other. You have to have some force negating the tension
No,
in the
yeah,
tether.
I agree.
And I don't think that's something physically that we are able to do as a species right now.
No.
I
was just
it would
saying
be cool. Yeah. But the other cool thing about this Lunar Gateway is it's
Mhm.
going to act as a sort of waypoint between Earth and Mars. So we just send
Yeah.
astronauts up there, and then we can just send a vehicle up there, and then just send it
It's
to
kind of
Mars.
like a connection flight.
Yeah. It's like, so have any of you ever played Call of Duty Infinite Warfare?
No.
Have you? Do you remember the mission where they have to link up with the Space Coast Guard at the moon?
Space
at
Coast Guard.
the Space Coast Guard.
Sounds right up John's alley.
So, the Space Coast Guard are guarding the Lunar Gateway.
Mhm.
Would you
Which
say the
is-
Guardians of the Galaxy?
No,
The Guardians of the Gateway.
no.
the Galaxy
They're
Gateway.
guarding the Lunar Gateway, which is like a space station, or like literally like
It
an
is a space
airport.
station.
Yeah.
It's like an airport, but physically on the moon, and they have like runways and stuff for like space travel, and so you can go to Mars. And the whole story behind Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is we've colonized Mars, and there's like a bunch of people living there.
Mhm.
And because there's a bunch of people living there and they're separate from Earth, they kind of grow their own culture and they kind of separate. And then there's a civil war between Mars and Earth. And then the Martians are like, no. The Martians are kicking the Earthans' ass because the Earth guys have this really cool defense system in like all over the world, like these giant freaking cannons that just obliterate anything. And they send this like one tiny little spy guy into infiltrate it, and he brings all of them down, and then they just massively attack the Earth and basically shred. Oh, kinetic weapons. Well,
Yeah,
hold
the
on.
ones that they drop from space.
railguns.
Let's
you
talk
say?
about that. Have any of you played Call of Duty Ghosts?
Yes.
Yes.
You remember Odin,
Yes.
the Odin system. So what that was, and this is actually part of Ronald Reagan's Space Force, Rods from God. Remember? Do you guys remember that? I mean, none of us were alive, but do you remember learning about that?
I've only
So
heard of the
essentially-
Star Wars program.
Yeah, Rods from God is what it was called. And Call of Duty Ghosts turned that into the Odin satellite.
God has given us his rod.
Okay, Nick.
Oh, whoa. So speaking,
So basically what it is, it's these tungsten rods. And this is the
I
theory.
expect them to be tungsten.
These
to be
tungsten
honest.
rods that they're about 10 meters long, and all they do is they drop them
Correct.
from a satellite,
Mhm.
and they hit the target, and is about the same energy as an equivalent of the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima,
Correct.
just by dropping a tungsten rod.
Yeah, they sit together and then don't they just?
No, it literally, a tungsten rod just drops,
It's just
and just because of the kinetic
Well, I know
energy
that.
and the amount of force that has
But
behind
isn't it
the
like
momentum is
multiple rods connected to each other?
no,
Mm.
it's just one. They just,
Okay.
I mean, there's a silo or a
Yeah.
salvo of rods,
Right.
and they can just drop one at a time on a target.
Well, it makes sense because it's tungsten. I would really.
The only
expect it
reason
to-
it's tungsten
is
is to
because it-
survive the temperature
yeah.
of the reentry.
Well, that's why
And do you know how much math has to be
A
involved in
lot.
that? Because
a lot.
first you have to realize you're dropping it from orbit, which means it's already going to have a elliptical pattern,
Correct, and you also have to
which
find
it's going to
the
turn into.
entry.
So first it's going to be. This is what's complicated. First it's an ellipse in the orbit,
Mm-hmm.
or a semicircle ellipse
Yeah.
in the orbit, turns into a hyperbola,
Mm-hmm.
then turns into a parabola,
Mm-hmm.
then it turns into almost linear because of the atmosphere,
Correct.
of the drag on the atmosphere, and then it turns just straight.
Correct.
The freaking modeling mathematically of that
Isn't
to be
it-
able to,
don't you
and
have
then
to go
you
through
have
the
to
same
account for
process
you have to
for-
account for all of the atmospheric conditions, any
Right.
kind of wind, weather, like the amount of math involved in that to model that and to hit a precise target is insane.
Correct.
Isn't that why? What was it? Was it SpaceX or whatever their faces is? That they had a couple rockets come right back down because they couldn't figure out the pressures, so they kept on crumbling from the top. So they were like
Mhm.
abort it and bring it right back down, to then have to redo it.
Because I know, didn't
don't know
that
if it
happen
was-
a decent amount of times with NASA as well?
Yeah,
Like
Oh
recently.
no, that was with the Facebook satellites.
yeah.
Oh,
I think it was
yeah, yeah.
SpaceX. SpaceX was trying to launch a bunch of satellites for Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
and
Crumbling under the pressure.
I don't know if they were crumbling under the pressure, but they weren't launching, and they were just blowing up on the launch pad. And sometimes they would go up and then blow up,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes.
Why was that?
Well, my favorite ones are when satellites just crash to Earth, and for some reason they always land in Australia.
Magnets, bro.
I mean, is that kind of
Matthew?
What?
what goes back to the movie The Dictator, where he's like more pointy? Could it be like that?
I don't think I ever watched that movie.
Really.
No.
Hmm.
Because there's a point where he actually fires his head scientist or his head engineer for rockets, because he doesn't want to make it pointy, and he fires him just because of that.
Fair enough.
That's funny.
Matthew, what were you saying?
Why was it crumbling?
Why was what crumbling?
Like he's asking, whenever they get into the atmosphere, why do they like dismantle?
Oh,
crumble?
Yeah.
It was different for each one.
Because isn't it just like angle and like? Because if some like even like
No, I
barely
wanna say
anything
it's-
goes wrong, it's done.
Usually, it's either a propulsion or a fuel problem. A lot of times on the launch pad, that's what it is. A lot of times when it's in the air, that's what it is. Sometimes it's just a leak. If they have a tiny little leak somewhere in some sort of check valve or any kind of valve.
To be honest, that's the reason I don't want to be an astronaut. Too many things can go wrong because it's so advanced.
I tell you what, we haven't had a catastrophic loss of human life in terms of space
Oh, for
travel
at least 10
since the
years.
Challenger.
Well, no, remember, remember that one story where I don't remember if it was in the 90s or if it was in the 2000s, like the early. But do you remember that math teacher that went up? Or I can't remember if it was a math teacher or a science teacher that
That
went
was
up.
the Challenger, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the
Okay.
Challenger. That was the last
Okay, so then
one
we're
we
talking
had, I
about the right
believe.
thing.
And that
Because, well, no, like catastrophic failure.
Oh.
no, that's fine. Last time an astronaut died on a
On
mission.
February-
On a mission.
February 1st, 2003, Columbia broke up
Columbia, that's what it
catastrophically.
was.
Yeah, over north central Texas, altitude
that's
of
what it
40
was.
miles.
That's not bad, 20 years, but we also haven't put up many.
Oh,
Like,
we
with
have. I
people.
mean,
Well,
SpaceX has
other
put a
than-
lot.
Right, but
I don't think SpaceX has had any human casualties.
No.
Which is
Well,
pretty impressive.
didn't they launch a bunch of their rockets without them?
Most of their rockets are all autonomous,
Right.
which is amazing.
I feel like it's easier to do that than have it like
We have
rely
gone.
on manpower.
We have gone from having to be completely man-powered with the computer system having like a fraction of the power that's in our phones.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone from that to completely autonomous in the
Correct.
span of 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, but that's what happens whenever the technology that's available is
It's
unlocked.
I'm saying it's impressive. It's
Oh, yeah.
really impressive.
But that's how I feel
There's
like that's
more
how
processing
a lot of
power
evolution's gonna
in
be.
our phones I think it's like 1,000 times more in our phones.
Yeah.
Maybe no, because let's see.
Well, think about it
This is
way.
this is a 64-bit processor. Actually, it
Right.
might be a 32-bit processor.
No, it's probably 64.
And I can store 64 gigabytes on
What's
it.
your model? Matthew's looking it up.
It doesn't really matter. It's a anecdote. But 1 second.
Alright.
But there was a few kilobytes
Correct.
on the original Apollo mission.
Correct. Well, I think within
That's insane.
I think within like 5 years they almost had it like it was from kilobits to megabytes.
And then the jump from megabytes to gigabytes was insane.
Joe
What's that?
says the iPhone 6 clock is 32,600 times faster than the best Apollo era computers and can perform
Wow.
instructions 120 million times faster. You wouldn't be wrong in saying an iPhone could be used to guide 120 million Apollo era spacecraft to the moon all at the same time.
Well,
I
yeah,
wouldn't be surprised either.
you can. I mean, if your phone can do, your phone has a lot of processing power. Like even,
Well, that's
you
the
could-
problem with them.
you could
Their CPUs
run-
kill the batteries.
you know what I just realized?
Huh.
You could run an Apollo mission like type spacecraft with like 2 Arduino Unos.
Yes.
Dude,
You could
I
probably
need to do that.
run it if you didn't pay attention and just wanted to do it on your computer, like your laptop.
I don't. You probably couldn't make it autonomous.
Autonomous, no.
You could definitely make it spaceman thing
Well,
pilotable.
that's what I'm talking about.
Astronaut. That's what it's called.
Spaceman
Spaceman.
pilotable. The rocket.
Rocket Man.
Going back to the
Yeah, go for it.
fatality rate, I just searched it up here. It says the fatality rate is currently 3.2%. So
bad.
that's pretty significant.
Well, but that includes what when we were first developing the
Yeah.
technology too. What do you want to talk about?
So Evan, look up the man with the longest stay in space. Now,
Oh, okay.
so I think it was 900 days.
Whoa.
He was in the space station. Something that I could be entirely off, but
I wonder how much
he
taller
came
he got.
back. I think it was like a half an
So
inch.
did his bones start fusing together? Oh. Yeah, that's
But-
what'll happen if you're in
yeah.
space long enough.
Really? What
But the toll that it had on his body coming back, like I'm pretty sure he had to learn to like walk again.
Oh
like,
yeah, you have to
entirely.
go through intense physical therapy. Even just going up in 0G for like a few months.
Right.
They have to
but,
come
like,
back and do intense physical therapy.
Looking it up here, it says that he stayed up there for 14 months or
Whoa.
434 days and 18 hours
Yeah.
in one trip.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy,
So
man.
you all like that brings back to colonization of Mars. Like you gotta really think of because the trip from the moon
Yeah.
to there is long.
And I tell you what, if we were to do a Mars mission, I think if you look at The Martian, I think
Mhm.
what they have, the spinning
I agree. How
toroidal.
it creates gravity in a sense. in certain-
centrifugal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what they do at the International Space Station.
Nope.
I thought it
They
was.
do not.
I thought that. Hmm.
They do not have that on the International Space Station. It's all 0G.
You know, you would think that they would.
Well, it was built in a time when we did not have
That's
the
very
technology
true.
to build that.
But what's weird? Well, I mean, it probably would cost too much money. But what?
It'll take 7 months to go to Mars.
Yeah.
And that's half the time that dude spent up there. So
Wow.
like.
Yeah, so
round
we'd
trip,
have to have some sort of artificial
Exactly.
gravity.
Otherwise, you're just
But,
You're
and
not
I
gonna
tell
be-
you what, so if there's ever people born on Mars, they can't come to
They're
Earth without
correct.
surgery.
correct.
Their hearts won't be able to pump enough
Correct.
blood to their brains because the
Well,
gravity is
There was a whole
more
movie on that.
Yeah, The Space Between Us.
Uh huh.
That was actually a
That was
good movie. It was kind of cheesy and like corny.
It was a child or
But,
children's movie.
Yeah, it was like a teen romance like type of movie.
I was just checking on him.
So would that bring up the question, is that why well, at least in the space station, is that why they have like treadmills where they strap themselves down
Yes.
and walk
Yeah,
normally
you
so
have
that way
to stay
they don't
physically
feel,
fit so that
Correct.
you're when you come back you don't have to go through such
don't-
intense
yeah.
physical therapy. I mean, they still do,
yeah.
even given that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The stay in space, you just stop using a lot of muscles that you
It's because it's
It's
hard on
in-
your body.
yeah.
That and like how we were talking about like travel time, you're gonna have to like have a specific regiment, and they're gonna have to build like weight rooms and such like that on the ships because you need to stay physically strong
Yeah.
to be able to be on Mars.
Yeah.
And like the complications that
And
you
then
potentially have.
If they stay on Mars for too long, it'll be really tough coming back to Earth.
Correct.
So,
So it's like you gotta. The time between there and back is the equivalent to the longest stay in space.
no, it's longer.
My point.
Yeah.
So it's like
It's like
How are
3
they
times
gonna-
as longer
How
there
are they
and
gonna
back.
plan? That's true. But like, how are they gonna plan for that?
It's centrifugal, toroidal, like
Yeah, but
or not Mobius.
Coming back, I think since it's gonna be longer, it's gonna have a detrimental effect.
It probably will.
And
So
that's why it's like
if there's going to be maybe a settlement on Mars, it would have to be permanent
correct.
because, and it would
Like-
have to be something where they're not planning to come back to Earth.
Well, that's why they've like there's like signing up volunteering.
Hmm.
Because like you have
would
to
any
give
of
up
would any of you
everything.
volunteer to go to Mars?
No. Not
My
now.
thing is, I would think about it, but then it's to the same point where I wouldn't, because there's a lot of things I like doing over here, which would probably not be over there.
You
so
could go
like,
ice skating on Mars.
Yeah, on
Make an
dry
ice rink.
Yeah, but do I really feel like having my skates freeze to my feet and having
So
to?
just make some space ice
Space
skates.
skates, let's go.
All right, Bowery, you know what to do.
Space ice skates. There you go.
Come on, CCM.
There you go, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
You know what?
There's
Thir-
$1 million idea right there.
Yeah, but $1,300 is going to be their base price, not even after customization. It's just going to be, oh, you want
No,
it?
it's not. It's gonna be like $1 million. It'll be like we created
Oh.
space skates
Space skates.
in a world
Buy 'em
where
today at
space
Toys R
skates
Us.
exist.
Skates that have been made and assembled on Mars. And they
Companies
have
get what to
been
do.
to the orbit of Venus.
So going back to that whole thing, that brings up the question, which is probably the stupidest question you're ever going to hear.
Let's go.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
But is it why in Destiny it takes so long to load into certain places? Think about it.
Ironically
because-
enough, it's the same problem that the Apollos had in CPU power.
That's funny.
But that's the thing.
That's real
So
funny.
going back to what you were saying, I don't know how long ago, maybe like 30 minutes ago, about the whole war for Mars. Is that why in Destiny that happened? Because
I don't know.
if
Well, that also happened because there were people on that already.
oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So would that be like, if say there is Martian life and you move them out, would they want to get their stuff back and you know?
Of course. Yeah, I was gonna
Just
say
destroy
just
it,
like
yeah.
that.
We're gonna colonize Mars,
And,
And
kick
then they're
out
gonna be-
everybody.
and then we're gonna no. We're gonna colonize Mars. We're gonna forget about them, and we're gonna come back and colonize them.
Right.
Now you're thinking.
For real.
Force them our religion. Okay.
Food for thought.
Planetism.
Planet cyst.
Planet cyst.
Oh my god.
Oh, you're not from this planet. You don't have.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
you're
have a
not from
question
Earth.
for you guys.
Yes.
How do you think space government would work?
The same thing.
The
like
same
here.
way Rome worked.
Yeah.
I really think so. Like an overall leader of it, but each place has their own governor and president and like stuff.
All right.
And
No,
then they break
federalism,
off and
so
attack
then.
us.
Yes.
I think that's probably a good idea because federalism, when you're legislating and executing at the executing at the local level, it's a lot more effective. Is it me or did the audio just? Yeah,
Do
what
you
happened?
think that we would have like a republic style like government on
Here,
Mars,
is that better?
or do you think a parliament would work better?
Testing. There we go. That was weird.
Did you hear me?
No.
I said, do you think it would work better as a parliament style or like an actual republic style government?
I don't know, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
Well, now I can hear you because you yelled. Yeah, that's weird. For some reason.
What about now?
For some reason, it got lowered. Try it.
Hello?
Scoot back your clipping a little.
Hello?
Now I can't hear you.
Hello?
Okay, that's probably pretty good.
Okay. But what is your thoughts on that, Joe?
I think a republic style would probably be the best.
I agree.
In general, I think a republic that's also federalist or uses
like
federalism.
Rome.
Yeah, or like the United States, but less democratic.
I feel like correct. Well, they're based off a lot of other stuff than just Rome.
Yeah,
But I feel
mainly
like that has the,
John Locke and
Yeah.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau, separation of powers.
Common
John
sense.
Locke is that's Thomas Paine.
Yeah.
John
No,
Locke.
I'm just saying. In
John
general.
Locke is the idea of life, liberty, and property.
Oh yeah.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he's the idea that says the government is supposed to protect the unalienable rights of the people.
Mhm.
It's not the government that gives you the rights. It's your rights are naturally born into you,
Right.
or God-given is what he described. And the government can only take away rights.
Correct.
Whereas there was also Hobbes, who thought he wrote Leviathan, and his whole thing was that the government is supposed to check the evil of humanity, and it can only give you rights. It can't take them away. So it's that was the debate
That
going on
makes
back in
zero
the day.
sense.
That's the winding part, because if they say check the evil, wouldn't that come off as evil to a certain party? Because
Well, yeah.
yeah.
I feel like
He's saying government by nature is
It's like a he said,
supposed
she
to
said.
be what do you coercive. Whereas John Locke says government is supposed to be
like a help, not
it's supposed to be like, it's not supposed to be coercive. It's not supposed to be impeding on anything.
Regular-
It's the only
yeah,
thing it's
I
supposed to
get you.
do, or it's entitled to do, is to protect your natural born rights,
right.
and it is supposed to not infringe upon those things.
Right.
But yeah, I think federalism and republicanism is probably the best way to run.
An unbiased view.
No, honestly,
No, seriously.
not
No, I agree.
republicanism like the Republican Party,
Like as in like a republic, as in like
as
how
in representative democracy,
yes,
I see what you mean.
as in you have
like
it's
our
federalism.
republic or the Republic of Rome.
Yeah, you have
like we keep bringing up.
you have specific
No, Joe, we need
representatives.
feudalism.
Well, that's actually kind of a form of republicanism, but the problem is it's republicanism without the federalism.
Correct.
It's you have centralized powers locally, but the problem is it's not unified by
Right.
one centrally governed
It's
body.
Like Articles
Or
of
I sorry, it's
Confederation.
more of a decentralized governing body. But feudalism, there is no centralized or decentralized governing body. There is no governing body.
right.
It was just a bunch of local
whoever has the
centralized power.
It's like that's why like dukes and princes and
It relied
Duchess
upon
and
a lot of
Dutch.
uneasy alliances
yeah, I agree.
rather than
Coercive.
state representatives.
Yeah,
So
that's my thoughts on that. What about
Yeah.
you, Evan? What's your opinion on?
space government.
Yeah.
Do we need space government?
Well,
Yes.
Or should it just be anarchy?
No.
No, but there should be a point where I feel like it should be a government, but not exactly how they have it established, like certain countries from here.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So like the U.S. and the other countries. So I feel like it should be a matter of like, if you really, really actually want government, then that's one thing. But like, might be some people that say, governments should just stay out of our business, let us live our lives, and if we
Well,
need
that's
them,
libertarianism then.
well, yeah.
So you want a libertarian style,
Like
like you want like Articles of Confederation type
Right.
government. Okay.
Well,
Weak
Ooh.
centralized, no, like very little centralized power,
yeah,
okay.
more decentralized at the local level.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean,
you're
that
a,
makes sense.
But when it comes down to actually getting to the nitty gritty of it, that's where they actually step in.
right. So it'd be like
just
a
the
round table
specific,
kind of
just
Yeah.
the specific things
Everyone
that
shoots
the
in their
local
ideas.
governments don't
Okay.
have the
So it's kinda like the
resources
UN.
to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
More or
Well,
less.
I would hope it's not the UN. The UN
no,
is useless.
like the UN.
Yeah. Similar concept, less poor execution.
Listen.
The UN
the
is
UN
useless.
is awful.
The UN
they
is
haven't
useless.
been useful since like
They've
what,
never
Vietnam?
been useful. No, they've never been useful.
Yeah. Well, you know who and why.
I think I catch your drift.
Yes.
But no, the UN is useless.
It needs
They
to be
have the problem. There's two problems. One, it's a bunch of rich countries
correct.
that come together
well,
and say, "Oh, sorry." There's three problems.
Yeah.
There's three problems. There's a bunch of rich countries, and they ultimately make all the decisions. First of all.
yes.
Second of all, China and Russia are China and Russia are on the Human Rights Council.
Yeah.
I thought it was a humanitarian.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Humanitarian
Well,
Council or whatever.
You know, like I can't remember if it's Iraq or Iran is the woman's right
oh yeah.
chair.
Yeah. I want to say it's Saudi.
No, it's not
No?
Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
They were part of it for a good minute, and then
Yeah, and then they dropped
But-
out.
the way
And then the other reason is the UN has no real power.
yeah, going back to what you're saying about the UN, I think it's one of those things that's more like like you said, it's a bunch of rich people making decisions for each other, thinking about the benefit of again rich people, and just leaving the other ones more like okay. You
Yeah,
don't
it's
really-
it's like you have the sort of like established power of the country,
Yeah.
Yes.
making all the decisions in the best interest of the established power of
Correct.
the country.
Or as they would say for like a business, they have all the head honchos going at it, and then they just have all the side people like
Suck it up. Yeah.
yeah, suck it up, deal with it. make do with what you got.
But also the problem with it is that it like I said earlier, it's like suggestions. Like they can't really enforce anything. They can tell you to
Well,
do
the
something,
problem
but
is
don't really have
they
to.
rely on the enforcement of the rich countries.
Correct.
And
And that's
the U.S. isn't going to enforce it
no.
because they
We're
don't want to go to
barely
war.
on the we're barely on it.
No, we made it.
barely.
The UN is literally stationed in New York.
Correct, but like for a while we were barely on it.
No, we made the UN.
Did we really though?
Yeah.
Joe? Well, in a literal sense. But
Yeah,
not
we
really.
literally made
not
the
me.
UN. Like it was
I feel like we don't have the
So, the
representation
problem-
that we should have.
the League
for
of Nation-
creating it.
maybe. I think it was a mistake to let China on.
I don't think it was a mistake.
No, I think it was absolutely was a mistake.
feel like it's not in the. They weren't given the right power to control from it. If that makes sense.
I don't think China should have any authority in our world. I don't.
Why?
We gotta
Because of
include
the
them in
amount of
something.
genocide that they. No, I think we should
There's a
exclude them
lot-
because of the amount. I think
There's
any
a lot of
country.
genocide everywhere.
I think
though.
any country that would have mass murder, genocide, concentration camps. Any country
We did that to the Native Americans in the U.S.
did. That's the key word.
Well, that's the
We've
that's-
moved past
They're
that.
still doing it in places like Russia and
That's
China.
my point. That's my
and-
point. I'm saying any country that today would be would be
Okay,
allowed
actively
actively
participating.
Well,
participating in
they're-
genocide
They're
and
human
cultural
trafficking.
genocide. Yeah, any country
That's
that would be
That's
everywhere.
everywhere though.
No, I'm sorry. A country that is actively participating.
Mexico, a good chunk of the Middle East because they're
Well, that's fine. But I'm
So-
saying we don't let
Everything.
them into the United Nations.
well that and there's like I can't remember if it's above China or the Philippines, but there's a small country in what would that be, Southeast Asia, where they're just like plucking them
Oh,
and they're
wow.
just sending them to the Middle East.
Great.
Seriously.
No, I believe you.
And then it's that like I was looking at articles and everything for it, and it's like it's terrible right now, and that like everybody in like those countries are worried, like sick, and especially for like their like young women.
I can't
And
believe
that's
evil
why-
like that still exists
I
in
can.
this world.
And you know what?
That's how it makes the world go around.
That's why the Second Amendment exists.
That was a weird off turn.
No, I'm serious. That's
feel
why. That's
like-
why we have the
I
Second
feel like
Amendment
that's
here.
not a literal sense why.
That
but
is
it's
that
a
is the
good
literal
benefit of
sense.
it.
No, it's a literal
Love
sense
it.
why. There was two reasons originally for the drafting of the Second Amendment, which is the right to keep and bear arms and the right to
Bear arms?
keep and bear arms.
You have bear arms?
Family Guy reference? Question
Yeah.
No.
What?
Family Guy reference? Question mark?
Oh, I don't. I thought that was Smitty.
Yes, it is.
Bare fists?
Yeah.
You have bare fists? But anyway,
No, because what was it? One time when my friend was doing, it was my friend Braden. He was doing a assignment on all like the different like laws and
okay. Amendments of the Constitution. Okay.
he basically was like the Second Amendment is to bear arms. And I was like, you have bear arms?
You have bare arms? So, oh, sorry, I clipped right there. The whole point of the Second Amendment is that upon drafting the Constitution, I'm not going to get into any of the arguments these days. This is the context. Yeah, this is the context of the drafting of the Constitution. The founders, wherever your stance is, I don't really care. We're not talking about that right now.
Right.
This is just the drafting of the Constitution. This was the
Yeah.
ideas. There were two ideas. One, if everyone has a gun, America is a lot harder to take over. In that
Correct.
time, America was a lot smaller and we had a lot
Correct.
less people. So that's the first thing. America's going to be a lot harder to get retaken over by Britain or France or whoever.
But I feel like that reasoning there is the reasoning that people that are trying to abolish the Second Amendment are using.
Well, so hold on. There's another part of that.
Yeah.
The other part of it that the founders, specifically Thomas Jefferson, who was an anti-federalist,
Mm-hmm.
his argument or his principle for including the Second Amendment is it's a check on the government.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Which is, well, it's not a matter of if you agree or not. This is just what Thomas Jefferson said.
no,
This
like
is the idea of
like with that in the sense of like
Gotcha.
it should have been in it.
it
like,
was well, yeah, I guess
Because
maybe
of,
it
like,
should have
the
been a little
threat
more
of
specific.
Civil War and other such things. Like
Well, so the whole reason it was supposed to be a check on the government, and the
Mhm.
idea of Thomas Jefferson is that there should be a revolution every 20 years to refresh the government. Ultimately, that didn't happen,
A
but
little radical.
a little bit, yeah.
well, that's how they were
But
back
it kind
then,
of makes sense. Aren't we supposed to have enough arms to overthrow the government
Yes.
at any time?
There are-
Yes,
Arms?
that was the idea. We don't have
I
that
did not say bear arms. I said arms.
I know. I
You have
just said
bear
bear
arms?
arms to say bear arms.
You have bear
So
arms?
at one point, everyone just rips off their arms, send them, and beat
Yeah,
the
you just
hell
get-
out of
No,
everybody?
so the whole idea
get a
was
bunch
that
of-
you could, if the government starts infringing on your rights, you have the right to use the Second Amendment to rectify that. Ultimately, today's society has rolled over on that,
But isn't
but
that
that's a
like
different story.
Anarchism in a sense.
That's not anarchism. It's
Yeah,
federalism and maybe libertarianism.
Yeah, that's fair.
But ultimately, that was the point.
I feel like
And,
it's definitely melded to the like.
so the Second Amendment hasn't legally changed. The societally,
It definitely
in
has,
different
yeah.
in different points in
The
society,
interpretation?
and not the interpretation, but the amount of things we've been willing to give up as a society has changed over time. And back in the day, I think it was James Madison, got a letter from someone asking if they could have a cannon. And he said, yes, if the government can have a cannon, or if the government can have anything, you can own it. And that was, back in the day when merchants had like ships, and they would get attacked by pirates. And the weapon that you're going to have to defend against that is a cannon. So
Right.
he was wondering, can I legally own a cannon? And the answer was yes, if the government can have it, you can have it. And that was the mindset of the framers.
Right. But then the
How
Gen-
relevant
the
that is
Geneva
today is a
suggestion
different
came along.
conversation. Well, no, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, yes, it does. It limited the amount.
Well, it doesn't matter.
and what kind of
In the
stuff that you can
Constitution,
have.
so the way the U.S. works, the U.S. doesn't care about any international law because of Marbury versus Madison.
That's true.
The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled that the Constitution is the law that will be held
True.
in America above all else.
Right.
So if the Constitution directly contradicts any sort of law, the Constitution is the primary voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the law of the land. I mean, that's Marbury versus Madison, I do believe. Someone might be able to fact check me on that.
What kind of weapons do you think would be the most effective on Mars?
What kind of weapons do you think would be the most effective on Mars?
Yeah.
That was a nice tangent. Or a nice segue. It
'Cause
would
I was
have,
thinking
it would
about
have to be
laser
like coil
weapons.
guns.
Yeah, because technically they're outlawed by the UN.
Laser weapons?
Yes.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Laser
I
weapons.
think it's in the. No, I
So
don't think it's in
laser.
the
The
Geneva
problem with laser
Convention, but-
weapons is they're terrible.
No, in the sense of like it shoots plasma, like
Oh, plasma projectile.
lasers.
Plasma injected projectile injected
cool.
plasmas.
I think so.
So
Not entirely
if that's
sure.
outlawed, well, I'm not going to say anything if that's outlawed. uh,
We didn't do any. I'm kidding.
but oh, I'm clipping again. I think it went back up, Matthew. Oh, testing.
know.
I don't know. The audio is doing weird things.
Yeah, Nick is right.
Ha!
The
love
Convention
being
on Certain
right.
Conventional Weapons. It is prohibited to
Oh, my
employ
God,
laser weapons, especially designed as their sole combat function. Yeah.
Oh, did I just mute you?
Yes.
Did you?
No.
Hello?
Okay,
Mine's
yeah,
working.
we can hear you. That was weird.
Mm.
Um,
See, I know some stuff.
no, so laser weapons. The problem with laser weapons is they're terrible
Yeah,
because laser, all it is it's a focused beam of light,
it's just
and the only thing it can really do is heat stuff up.
Yeah, but
or
if
move
if
electrons.
it's hot enough.
Joe, aren't there some laser weapons on is it
Satellites?
battleships nowadays? To
Yeah,
take down
battleships.
drones?
No,
No, yeah, there's laser weapons on, but they're not weapons.
Yeah,
The
they
problem
shoot,
is-
don't they shoot like infrared or something?
No, it's a laser that all it does is it can pop dinghies and it can mess with drones.
Right.
That's like the
No, what
and
you're
honestly
thinking
that's
about
the physical
is,
limitation of lasers.
Ooh, but what do you think about
So would that be like a C-ram gun?
Yeah.
That's used for bases.
I don't think your mic was unmuted.
Oh, sorry about that.
You're good. So would it be like
I'll search it.
would it be like a C-ram gun that is on the edge of bases, so that way when something flies over and it's detected, it shoots. all hell out?
That one's deadly.
I don't know if that's lasers.
That's not a laser. It looks like a laser because of how
Oh, yeah,
fast
how
it
fast it
shoots
is.
out.
That's
about
are you
rail
talking
guns?
about the what's that called? The sens?
It's
Yeah.
like a red laser. Just
Yeah, the
Oh.
sens.
It
The
sends
sens
out a
unit.
beam of
So-
bullets at once.
Yeah, that's just
The
the
sens.
tracer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the tracer rounds.
It looks like.
It's just
So
Oh dude, the sens unit is insane.
They're
Have you
sick.
seen one in real life? Have you ever been to the Battleship Iowa?
no, I haven't seen.
They
that.
have one on the Battleship Iowa.
That's sick.
Dude, sens units are sick.
Have you seen how the railguns work on them though?
Railguns?
Yeah.
They don't have railguns on
Yes,
battleships.
they do.
No,
They're starting to.
they were starting to for a while, but
But
the
it
Navy ultimately
destroys-
said
it
the
destroys
Navy
the ship.
ultimately said it. Well, first of all, it destroys the gun. After that, it destroys the ship.
Well,
After that, it requires so much power that they wouldn't be able to generate it on a
Correct.
battleship.
that's why it would have to be
Now,
on land.
the testing that they did with this thing.
Oh, they're sick. Weren't they
I
want to
say it was around. They were shooting it through solid steel, solid concrete.
Uh-huh.
It would just go through everything.
all the way through. It's because
It's kinetic round.
yeah, it's because it's electronically charged.
No, it's not electronically charged.
Yeah,
The bullet isn't.
Don't they use electrons to fire it out?
Nope. It's so the way it works is there's two rails.
Mhm.
One has a massive positive voltage. One
Mhm.
has a massive negative voltage. A bullet is so the bullet or the projectile is not charged.
No, but the
projectile-
actual machine.
Each rail has there's a
Yeah.
potential difference across the rails.
Correct.
Now, if you put a projectile in
'Cause
between them,
it's like a,
it
it's
shorts
like a magnet.
it shorts
It just
across.
flings it.
It's not a magnet.
Well, it like.
It's not like a magnet.
Really?
It uses it does it's not it doesn't use the
So
electro
it's just kinetic.
so what it there's a little kick at the top of the railgun.
Mm-hmm.
Just pushes the projectile in
Right.
with some initial velocity. Now, have you ever used a welder?
Yes.
I know you have. I'm just
Yeah.
anyway.
We have two.
What happens when you short something? That's what a welder is. You
Mhm.
short an electrical circuit
Right.
on something that melts, and then you melt stuff together.
Right.
So the difference with a railgun, it's the same principle, except the thing that you're trying to melt, it's not actually going to melt. And you push it through, and I forget the physics of it, but essentially, because it's shorting and the amount of energy, and it just accelerates the particle really
Right.
fast. And I forget the physics on it. You might have to look it up, Matthew. But
But basically, just throws
it
projectiles.
goes really fast.
Yeah.
It has a lot of momentum
Mhm.
and a lot of energy, and it can go through almost anything.
Correct.
And I believe it has the radius of 112 miles.
Yes.
I want to say it's 112, and someone can fact check me on that
think
too. The
the
Navy
only thing that really
railgun.
comes close to it is it was a German gun in World War II, and it could shoot like 26 miles.
Yes, and that some people thought
that
that
was
was a
like a-
railgun,
I think that
but
was a
that was actually just a
19-pounder.
gun on rails.
Yeah, I think it's a 19-pounder.
That was Hitler's giant penis.
Correct.
He was
His
overcompensating.
Magnum Dom.
He was overcompensating.
Railguns can readily exceed 3 kilometers per second.
Correct.
What's the range? Yeah, 50 to 100 miles. I want to say the record was like 112
Hmm.
is what the Navy was developing.
So basically, it can shoot from one side of California to the other, almost.
No, that's not 100.
it's
It's
like-
so Bakersfield to Los Angeles is like 100 miles.
Yeah, it's like 200 to get across.
It's
Or no.
basically from
No.
shooting.
That's
like
like that's
halfway
like
across
Bakersfield
the
to,
that's
state.
like
Long
Los
Beach.
Angeles to Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it could
That's a
go
long time.
Victorville
'Cause
to
it's 300 to get to
like Long
Havasu.
Beach per se, because that's 60 something miles.
From where?
From Victorville to
Oh,
Long
okay.
Beach.
Okay. Whoops. Didn't mean to clip there.
Because it's to Arizona from here, it's only like 300 miles.
Well, yeah,
Or
because
no, it's like 250.
so like halfway to Arizona from
Yeah.
here.
That's why I said like halfway almost across the state.
No. Oh, you meant like
Yes.
width.
Not,
I thought you
not
meant length.
This way.
I thought you meant length.
No, that way.
Or north
No.
to south. You mean east to west.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Because that's really cool to think about, but at the same time, it makes sense why they'd like destroy themselves because they're shooting so viciously that they just shake and like
I
rip
want to
apart
say
stuff.
it was like six projectiles that
Yes.
they could launch before they had to replace the
Rep-
rails.
That yeah, they had to completely repair it.
Yeah. It was
They're
somewhere
cool,
around
though.
there. Oh,
that's
it is a
cool.
magnetic field.
I told you.
Oh, look at that. Right hand. That's your right hand rule right there, Matthew.
Oh boy.
Your fingers curl in the direction of the magnetic field.
Yeah.
Forces in the
Mhm.
positive direction.
See, yeah, because it's the magnet between, and because it's like
Well, it's
pushed.
not a magnet though.
Well, you know what I mean.
It's
like the
so
magnetic
it's
force
actually
between
not
it
even an
fires it.
inductor. It's more akin to. So this would be something like a Dirac delta function,
Ah.
where it's a giant energy impulse
Correct.
with over a very small time interval.
Yeah.
I bet you this effect has something to do with the initial field going through a circuit when you have a. Yeah, what's up?
So, I just looked up the radius of a railgun, right?
Okay.
And the first thing that comes up is Halo.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Oh, dude, do you remember the Mac cannon on the little 4x4?
I think that's what
I think
that's
so.
what it is.
That's not a railgun. Well, it is a railgun. Yeah.
Yes and no.
It's a
It's a railgun.
magnetically accelerated cannon.
Yeah.
Yep. Those
You know-
things are
I was gonna
insane.
bring that up because Venus in Halo was just farming.
No, you're thinking of Harvest.
But I thought that was.
No,
I'm pretty
Harvest.
sure
Harvest
on
was
Venus it
extra
mainly
solar.
farming because of.
I don't know about Venus. I know Mars was like a big shopping
Yeah.
center or like a urban area.
Yeah.
Harvest was like the big farming
Yeah, but
world.
wasn't that farther?
That was the
back?
first. That was the first one. It wasn't in our solar system. It was in our galaxy,
Mm.
and that was the first one that the Covenant attacked. Harvest.
Right. But I think because they
Halo
attacked
lore.
Harvest, that
Oops, Halo.
didn't they do that? I think that's why they did it to Venus.
I
I'll have to
don't.
look
I
it
don't.
up.
I don't know the
Matthew,
lore on
fact
Venus
check
in
it.
Halo.
Look up Halo lore.
Venus
All right,
Halo
I'll
lore.
do it.
Venus Halo lore.
Venus Halo lore. 921.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Yeah. So that's
Mhm.
that's the handheld railgun.
Yeah.
Dude.
That
So
would
handheld
Destroy
railguns.
your like
Hand hard.
bones.
No. It wouldn't have enough energy. That small. In
I mean-
fact, the energy density needed to create that doesn't exist yet. Actually,
Correct.
I'll come back to that in just a second.
It
But
does, but doesn't.
you know what does exist that we
Hmm.
can do right now?
Hmm.
Coil guns.
Yes.
Now, coil guns can accelerate things similarly fast to railguns, not
Correct.
as fast. It uses inductors instead of an electrical short.
Mm-hmm.
Railguns probably interact with more stuff like Maxwell's equations, whereas
Yeah.
coil guns is just standard circuit theory.
Right.
It's basically just like you're building a big solenoid and you're launching a magnet. Now, those things are really cool too.
Isn't that how railguns work though? Because it
No.
like
Railguns aren't coils of inductors. Railguns are just two rails that have a
no,
difference
no.
across.
I get
across
that,
them.
but isn't it like because the magnetism?
The projectile isn't magnetized. It's all to do with the
Mm.
short across the two rails.
Right.
And that if anyone knows what Maxwell's equations are, that's going to be what defines the railgun.
I know that one too well.
we found something.
What'd you find?
You know, like the Tesla coils, right?
Oh, I see the Tesla coil gun.
You see right there.
What
I
it-
zoom in already, but it takes a while.
So the problem with that, it's a lot of voltage,
Yeah.
but very little amperage.
Correct.
Oh. It just looks so cool.
That's really funny.
Gun specs.
What would that-
battery
that-
output 400
It
volts?
would just you. Zzz.
It would zzz,
It'd be like
and
a
then you'd be
taser.
out of batteries.
Yeah, it'd be like a taser.
That
and
would
you'd be like,
that'd be like the worst taser ever.
"Mm."
It
Let
would
the police
tickle
have
you.
them. It'd be
Way
like,
over
sir, get
engineered."
down. Tesla coils.
Sir,
You know,
get down.
you would be able to explode balloons full of hydrogen. That's probably the extent of
Throw
it.
balloons full of that.
Yeah, just throw a balloon
Urban
full of hydrogen.
warfare.
It'll just flow up, float up.
No, you put like rocks in it or something, and just thump, and then just fink.
It's just a mini Hindenburg.
Yes.
It's like shaped like it too. You just throw a mini Hindenburg torpedo, and then
You know it would work
remote
because they're
detonation with the-
aerodynamic because they're kind of like footballs.
yeah.
It would
It's what it
it'd
looks
be it'd be like throwing a bazooka projectile.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very effective.
No.
I found more pictures, Joe.
Let's go.
Oh no.
It was on the bottom. Hopefully it loads soon.
Is that a
I'm sad
Destiny
there's a
gun?
delay.
He just like me for real.
That's funny.
Good,
What is-
good.
See, the problem with that is you can make a huge voltage difference. The only reason that works is because they have another electrode somewhere that completes the circuit. That ties it back to Earth
We'll
ground.
be like the Ghostbusters.
That one Electro Boom or whatever his name is.
Oh my gosh, Electro
That
Boom.
dude is goated.
I swear I
okay.
swear he does that on purpose.
That makes sense.
But it's
I bet
it's
you he
pure
does it on
comedy,
purpose.
so-
I mean it's funny. It's really dangerous, but it's funny.
He does.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen those videos.
I was just looking at the
the
difference.
best
Yeah,
part
I
is
told you.
He'll be like,
No, but
he'll be going so serious that ow.
It explodes on him.
That's exactly what I said.
yeah, but in
He knows what he's doing, right?
Oh,
He
yeah.
knows not to put
Oh, yeah,
so much
totally.
voltage and
I'm bad
stuff
at
his
explaining
heart or
things and
something.
non-physics stuff.
correct.
Anyway, what were we talking about that led to this?
Gauss rifles.
Gauss rifles.
Close enough. Oh, it's a Gauss rifle. It proposed a ferromagnetic projectiles.
And maybe don't look stuff up on the stream, Matthew. Thank you. Well, do we have any chats? All right.
Railguns
Well,
have a higher.
we'll say
fire
like we'll take
and
5 more
velocity.
minutes just to wrap it up, and then we'll call it a day because we're already over by 25 minutes.
Who cares? We're
But
chilling.
hey, it's a Friday.
That's true.
I have to be home before 10. I might have my driver's license, but that don't mean anything. I live in a Mexican household, and that basically means I get there whenever they tell me to get there. And
Exactly.
if not, that's my ass.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks to our whole 2 viewers, whoever. Actually, I wasn't watching the viewer count. I don't know how many people were watching. Matthew,
Aren't I?
viewer report. Matthew, do we have anyone? No. Rip.
Peak of 4.
Oh, okay. So we had a few people. Well,
A couple.
thank you guys so much for watching. And if you want to pull up the intro ads one last time, Matthew.
Yes.
The Cabal were Mars.
Yes. No, I'm thinking of no, not Hive. Like how in Destiny 2, how they got rid of Venus. You know how
I know, but it was.
The EDP and all that shit.
that's the
Just
thing.
tell them we're back. We had some technical difficulties.
We're back. Matthew stopped the stream, and so basically we
Keep pushing P.
in the last 30 seconds that we've been gone, we were talking about the lore of Halo. We finally actually looked it up instead of just talked about it. Apparently, it was in fact not colonized at all.
I was watching this the entire time.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was watching this the entire time.
Even if we weren't,
So you must have clicked it the first time.
Yeah, I clicked it here.
You
So-
clicked it the first time?
No, when
When
you
you
told
first
me to
did
put intro ads, I pushed this button.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And it didn't stop the stream?
And it stopped the stream. That's when you came over.
Right
Oh.
now? No, like earlier today.
Sorry.
At like 8 o'clock.
Intro. I clicked this one because I thought that was for the.
Yeah,
intro
I'm
ads,
telling you.
but
How did
it's
you do it
actually
the
the
first
intro.
time? How did you do it the first time?
I did the same thing.
You pressed that button?
Yeah.
Why didn't it stop the stream then?
I don't know.
Anyway, okay.
Anywho.
Let's wrap up the stream.
Why did you map it to that?
I didn't know I did. That was my fault. Sorry, guys. Apparently I mapped one of the key for the intro ads, or the ads for the show. Apparently I mapped that to the same key as ending the stream. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry about that technical difficulty right there. We are live here Fridays at 8 p.m. every week. Clips come out Tuesdays through Thursdays at 2 p.m. And the audio version of this podcast comes out on all podcast platforms at 5 p.m. on Monday. You can follow me on Instagram at joe.seesall. Thank you for that. They probably. I wonder if they heard that. Probably heard
no,
that.
I doubt it.
I bet you that. Who knows?
I mean,
If you heard a car, comment.
that was a motorcycle.
But hey, if you enjoyed what you watched, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another episode of the AstroCast Live. And we will be here,
The
and we will see you
Ascast.
next week. Anyone else want to close with anything? Nick?
It was fun. I'll be back here again.
Evan? Matthew?
Ram Ranch.
On God.
Dude, you were too close to the microphone. You totally clipped.
On God.
No, when you laugh.
Don't care.
Matthew? Any last parting
I
words?
already said.
What'd you say?
Nope.
I said it's
that's
been fun.
his last words.
Oh, okay.
Already said.
All
I
right.
said.
Thank you guys for hanging out.